Welcome back, children. Children, we have been studying about the different landforms, and we have studied about the different landforms in this world, the mountains, plains, deserts, and everything, and plateaus. So now it's time to learn what are continents. Now, the continents can be defined as huge land masses rising above the sea level. So, since Earth is covered mainly by sea, by the water bodies, so some of the landforms are at a height and and the sea is below them. So these landforms are seen very these landforms are really very visible. So these are termed as continents. So big land masses that are seen within the water bodies are called the continents. Now, these continents are separated from one another by huge water bodies. Now, there are different land masses, very many land masses existing between these water bodies. So, all these land masses are separated by the water bodies and they have different names. Now, there are seven continents on the earth. So, we have a total of seven continents on this earth. They are namely Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So these are those seven continents in our Earth. Now let's study each of them differently. First, we have the Asia. Asia is the largest and most populated continent on the earth. So, children, it is very important to know that Asia is the world's largest and most populated continent on the earth. So, the very large continent is the Asia. It is a home to the world's population. It comprises 48 countries. Mount Everest, the highest peak of the world, is located in Asia. The combined landmass of Europe and Asia is called Eurasia. So, children, you can see here this is Asia and this is Europe. This is a combined landmass, and together it is termed as Eurasia. This is Eurasia. Europe plus Asia. Now, second continent is the Africa. So it is the second largest continent on this earth. It is also second largest in terms of population also. This continent comprises 54 independent countries and is home of about 15% of the world population. So whatever the population is in the world, out of them 15% of the world's population is in Africa. It was also called as the dark continent because very little was known to the outside world until the last century. So it was a dark continent which was hardly known by anyone. So when it came into light, this there was a major part of the population is in this continent. The world's longest river Nile lies in this continent. So this is the unique thing that it is the world's longest river is Nile and it is in this continent. Next, we have the North America. North America is the third largest continent. Now, this is the third largest continent, that is the North America, and it lies in the northern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. So, it is in the northern and western hemisphere. It is the fourth largest continent in population. So as far as the population wise if we take it, it is the fourth largest continent in population. 7.5% of the population lives in this continent. It is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. So it is the largest ocean. Pacific Ocean surrounds this whole continent and the Atlantic Ocean also. So in the west it is Pacific Ocean and in the east it is Atlantic Ocean. The Arctic Ocean in the north and the Gulf of Mexico in the south. North America is connected to South America by a narrow stretch of land called the Isthmus of Panama. So, the North America and the South America, this is connected by the Isthmus of Panama. Then we come to the next continent, that is the South America. South America is the fourth largest continent. It is the fourth largest continent and roughly triangular in shape. This continent is fifth in terms of population. So it is fifth in terms of population. South America is home to the world's largest river, the Amazon. So the world's largest river, Amazon, lies in this continent. It is generally considered as the subcontinent of Americas. The Andes mountain range, which runs through its length from north to south, is the longest mountain range. So we have the longest mountain range in the world, that is the Andes mountain range. It lies in the at a length of north to south. Next continent we have is the Antarctica. Now Antarctica, as we have learnt in the previous one, it is the coldest desert, and it is the fifth largest continent. So the fifth largest continent is in terms of area is Antarctica. After Asia, Africa, North America and South America, this is the fifth largest continent, and it is almost twice the size of Australia. So it is twice the size of Australia. It is so big. It is the southernmost continent of the earth. So if this is the earth, you can see here we have the Antarctica. In this south pole we have the Antarctica over here. Now it is the only an uninhabited continent in the world. Uninhabited means no one loves to live in that continent. There is no permanent human settlement here. So nobody goes and settles down in the Antarctica because it is so cold that you will get frozen. So hardly people want to live there. It is also known as the frozen or white continent. Antarctica is the coldest, driest and windiest continent. Here the temperature has reached minus 89 degrees centigrade. So this is something very unique about this continent, that it is always frozen, and hence it is known as the white continent, and the temperature here reaches up to minus 89 degrees centigrade. Then we find that the sixth continent is the Europe, and it is the second smallest continent in the world. So it is the sixth in size, and it is the second smallest continent. So the smallest continent is the Australia. It is the smallest continent and sixth largest country in the world. So Europe is the second smallest continent, and it covers nearly 2% of the Earth's surface. So it covers about 2% of the Earth's surface, and it lies totally in the northern hemisphere. So hemisphere, as you know, this is the earth and this is the equator. It divides the earth into two parts. This is the northern hemisphere and this is the southern hemisphere. So hemisphere means half of the circle. So this is half of the circle and it is in the north, so it is a northern hemisphere. This is in the south, this half is in the south, and it is the southern hemisphere. So this is how it is determined as northern and southern hemispheres. Then we have it is separated from Asia by the Ural River, Caspian Sea, Caucasus Mountains, the Black Sea and the waterways of Turkish Straits. Then we have the last continent, that is the Australia. Australia is the smallest continent but the sixth largest country in the world. It is the only continent that is also a country. Australia is surrounded by water. That is why it is also called the island continent. So Australia is also known as the island continent because this continent is totally surrounded by water, and those land masses which are surrounded by water are in terms of called continents. So this is an island continent. It is called island. So the land masses just surrounded by water is called an island, and hence Australia is the island continent. Now it is surrounded by the Indian Ocean in the west, the Southern Ocean in the south, the Pacific Ocean in the east, and the Arafura Sea, the Great Australian Bight, Gulf of Carpentaria, Coral Sea, Tasman Sea, and the Timor Sea in the north. So many seas are on the northern side of this continent. Now, it is one of the least populated continents of the world. It lies entirely in the southern hemisphere. So, children, this is all about the continents, the seven continents of this world. So, these are huge land masses which are in this on this earth, on this planet, along with the water bodies. So children, this is all for today. Have a nice day.